all heard of rock climbing, but how about bouldering? It's a sport similar to rock climbing, but a lot more rugged.
In this week's Blue Ridge Outdoors, CBS 19's Tomas Harmon takes a closer look at bouldering and why you don't have to go very far to give it a try safely. Tomas.
In this week's Blue Ridge Outdoors, I went over to Rocky Top Climbing in McIntyre Plaza. Now, from the outside, it looks like any other store, but inside is a maze of rock climbing walls, perfect for trying out this pretty intense sport. It's a sport that isn't for the faint of heart.
Traditional rock climbing, you have a harness, you have a rope, both climbing shoes, but with bouldering, you eliminate the harness and the rope and replace it with a crash pad.
In a nutshell, it's like extreme rock climbing, and because it's so intense, it makes you strong mentally and physically.
Bouldering is a great way to stay in shape. It builds a lot of overall strength, and it's a lot of fun.
Calvin Bisecker is a boulder climber at Rocky Top Climbing. He's really good at climbing, but he didn't start that way.
I actually got into the sport through my friend. My friend said, "Hey, do you want to go bouldering one day?" I had no idea what it was, so I actually came here. And that was the first day I got really frustrated.
That's because even though you might be strong in the arms and legs, it's your finger strength that makes all the difference.
The biggest struggle is mainly the finger strength. You know, it takes a little while for your tendons to get used to this kind of stuff.
Which is why Bisecker says practice makes perfect, and Rocky Top is a good place to start.
They can come here and practice and get some just basic strength built up, but then also get a feel for body placement and just sort of the rules of bouldering.
But it's not an easy sport to climb into.
When you first walk in, all the tape does kind of overwhelm you. You're not sure exactly what's going on. It's not one big course, but each different tape pattern or color designates its own course.
Bouldering courses are rated on a scale from V1 to V15, from easiest to hardest. Rocky Top has created courses along their wall to help people build up on their B scales.
There are up to like 100 different boulder problems. Now, a boulder problem is basically something you do to challenge yourself. So you're not just using any rock on the wall. You're sticking to that specific tape pattern, from start to finish in order to complete the boulder problem.
Most boulder problems don't go much higher than 12 feet. So when you reach the top, you jump down and start again.
One thing I really like about doing this sport is, you don't have to be competitive. It's not a competitive sport.
Which makes it a friendly sport for people to try.
I like bouldering for, I think, the community aspect. I mean, there's always going to be people when you're climbing.
As for getting into the sport, here's some advice from a pro.
It is a kind of frustrating sport to leap into. Some people do better than others, but it just takes a little bit of time to build up that finger strength and to feel confident in your ability to complete the problems.
Now, when you get really good at bouldering, the problems become almost impossible. Bisecker told me that at V15, you're grabbing onto rocks, holding onto just the very tip of your finger pad. As for the sport, Daddy-O says it's growing fast and expanding into parts of Virginia. She wrote an entire article about it in the latest issue of Blue Ridge Outdoors magazine, which is out now, and we have the link to her story at newsplex.com. In the Newsplex, I'm Tomas Harmon.
Thanks, Tomas. And you can go to the Featured at 5 tab on newsplex.com to get more on this week's Blue Ridge Outdoors, as well as all of the other segments we feature right here on CBS 19 News at 5.
How about some bouldering and then some napping? That's what I would do. I'm not going to even do it.
Again, I'd like to see you do that.
No, not going to happen. Well, still to come on CBS 19.